Linux isn't just another operating system, it's the backbone of the modern internet and the engine behind Android phones. In 2025, if you want a career in cybersecurity, Linux isn't optional, it's essential. Welcome to securestartau, the channel where we make Linux and cybersecurity simple and exciting. If you're new here, smash that subscribe button so you don't miss the next big guide. Let's rewind to 1991. A student named Linus Torvalds, frustrated with Linux, built his own operating system, free and open source. That decision changed everything. Today, Linux runs most of the internet's web servers and even the Android phone in your pocket. So, what exactly is Linux? At its core, it's the kernel, the brain that manages memory, processors, and hardware. When you start a Linux computer, a bootloader loads that kernel into memory. On top of the kernel, you have the GNU tools. These are the utilities that make Linux usable for humans. Things like the shell, compilers, and editors. And above that, you have applications. Everything from browsers to servers. So Linux isn't just one thing. It's layers of software working together. That's why it's so flexible. It can power a tiny Raspberry Pi or a giant supercomputer. Now that we know what Linux is under the hood, let's talk about the part beginners notice first: distributions, or distros. Linux isn't sold in a box like Windows or pre-installed like macOS. Instead, it comes in many flavors, each tailored for different needs. For example, Ubuntu, the beginner-friendly distro, often the first stop for new users. Debian, known for stability, used heavily in servers. Arch Linux, for power users who want to build their system from the ground up. Fedora, cutting edge, often used by developers. Kali Linux, the hacker's toolkit, loaded with penetration testing tools. Each distro uses the same Linux kernel, but the surrounding tools, user interface, and philosophy differ. And here's the fun part. You've probably already used Linux without realizing it. Android phones run on a Linux kernel. Most of the world's web servers run Linux. Even NASA uses Linux for its space missions. This variety and flexibility is why Linux dominates. You can choose a distro that fits your exact needs, whether that's a gaming PC or a cloud server or a cybersecurity lab. Most beginners are confused when they first see the Linux file system. Unlike Windows, where you have C drive and D drive, Linux uses a single tree that starts at the root directory, represented by a single slash. Here's the basic layout. The root of everything. Home, where each user has a personal space, like home, Alice, etc. System configuration files live here. var, variable data, like logs. bin, essential user commands like ls and cat. usr, applications and utilities. This structure might look intimidating at first, but it's beautifully logical. Every file, whether it's a document, a program, or a device, fits neatly into this hierarchy. So how is Linux really different from Windows and macOS? Freedom. Linux is open source. Windows and macOS are closed. Cost. Linux is free. Windows and macOS often come with licensing costs. Customization. On Linux, you can change everything, from the desktop to the kernel. Windows and macOS limit what you can tweak. Security. Linux has built-in permissions and open source transparency. Windows is the primary target for malware because of its market share. Community. With Linux, if you hit a problem, chances are thousands of people have already solved it and shared the fix online. In short, Windows is convenient, macOS is polished, but Linux gives you control. And in cybersecurity, control is everything. Now let's get hands-on. Imagine logging into a Linux system. Type pwd to see your current directory. Type ls to list files. This is the power of Linux. It gives you control. You command the system directly. Now let's talk about why Linux is a security powerhouse. Every file has permissions, and with chmod you can change them. Need admin powers? Add sudo before a command. But remember, with great power comes great responsibility. Here's where it gets exciting. Linux isn't just secure, it's the OS of choice for cybersecurity. Want to be a penetration tester? You'll use Kali Linux. Almost every serious cybersecurity tool was built for Linux first. So, what is Linux? It's not just an operating system, it's freedom, it's security. Master Linux, and you unlock the foundation of cybersecurity. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, and drop a comment with your first Linux distro. See you in the next one.